Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. Time for yet another brilliant lecture in Native American literature here at Sisseton, Wahpeton College. For Monday, November 3rd, 2025. And now, without any further gobbledygook or yickety-yak, here comes the man himself, your intrepid, brilliant host, Professor Victor Singing Go. Yay! Right on. All right. Okay, we got some business to do. First things first, let's call the roll. I should put on my glasses, but I'm too lazy. And plus, my hands are full. Bao Zilo, Violet Bars. Got your student info sheet. Good job. Who else we got? Dong Ting Hui, Tasia Eastman. No student info sheet. You know what? I think right after this recording session, I'm going to mosey over to my office and email all of these students who have not turned in their info sheets and send them copies of the blank info sheets and say, now you have no excuse. Because remember, no student info sheet, big old goose egg. Got it? All right, next. Gu Tian Tian, Brittany Karash, yay, student info sheet, right on. I got to go faster because the other day when I tried to record a video, I ran out of space on my iPad. I need to clean all the junk off. All right, next one, Gina Mota. This is Mo Jinghua. Yay, student info sheet, good. Next, faster. Nie Kai Xin, Casey Nayland, yay, student info sheet, good job. Next. Ran Kai Tin, Katie Robbins. No student info sheet. Next. Luo Martin, Marty Ross. Yay! Student info sheet. Good job. Next. Shi Mo Li, Jasmine South. Yay! Good job. Next. Yue Jingjing, Kim White Mountain. Good student info sheet. Good job. Yay! All right, now. We got to hurry up and get busy because I'm going too slow. I already wasted 2 minutes and 44 seconds going through the student info sheets and the roll and all that. Let's go through the email announcements quickly. We have right here. Something about Pell Grants. Good afternoon, students. Pell Grants are scheduled to be applied to your accounts this week. If any refund is due, I will email each individual. Okay, check your email. Make sure you got that one for the money. That's always good to know. What else is going on? Who is Carter Jahnik? Is this somebody for me? I am sending this email to all faculty advice. Anatomy is going to be hybrid. You guys don't need to worry about that unless you're taking pre-med. But it's going to be a hybrid course. College textbook journal, you don't need to worry about that. Something about online auction. What are you buying? Online charity auction, November 3rd. Oh, cool. Pendleton blanket. Right on. Next. Advisory committees. Is this for you guys? Kareem's grant recommendation. Blah, blah, blah. No, you guys don't have to worry about that. Next. I got to go faster. LaJune Morgan, this is something that's probably outdated, but keep in mind that she does email students about what's going to be in the cafeteria, which is cool. And you know, they expanded the cafeteria hours till 5 p.m. daily, which is good. More time to eat. They actually need to expand it to 6, but never mind. Keep going. Oh, no. LaJune Morgan says there's a traditional hair clip found upstairs in the hallway. If it's yours, please describe it. It's just a lost and found notice. What else? Summer classes. Sunny's going to be gone. November 24th, 25th, and 26th, and December 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th. This is the I know it's to faculty and staff, but he also helps students out with technical issues. So if you need to talk to him, he's going to be gone those days. The other thing is Selena has updated the graduation application. So anybody who is graduating, you need to fill out that form. This is the newest one. Neato. Okay, so enough of that, because I'm going to stand up here and yak too much. I got to hurry up. Pop Quiz C is coming. Let me show you what it's going to look like. Keep in mind that I'm still getting caught up on e-learning, and this stuff is all mixed up. A lot of old stuff that says hidden from students, you guys won't be able to see that. I'm going to reopen some of these things, and I got to redo some of them and all that, but never mind. You guys are still responsible for all this stuff all the way to where it says stop here. So the last thing is the boys who became a killer whale, which we will talk about. I'm going to attach to the meeting 21, but this is meeting 22. But you guys need to look at all those videos, and I still have to post a what do you call it? Lesson plan, and I'll put it right up here above Sherman Alexi. So there's meeting 20, meeting 21's here, so there's going to be a red PDF look like that. Native Literature meeting 21, it's going to be there. But still, watch the videos and stay abreast to all the stuff all the way up to the stop signs, okay? And someone has emailed me and says, oh, dude, you are slacking off posting the extra credit discussions and the discussion forums. So I got to jump on it, which I will do as soon as possible. What else? What else? ¿Qué más? This is what's coming up. This one is a please reply one, and the poem is called How We F Up, but we won't talk about that right now. One more thing. Right, I was talking about Pop Quiz C, which you cannot see yet. It says hidden from students. But as I always say, as soon as you see it open up on e-learning, get on it. And do not take the quizzes on your cell phones. Got it? All right. Now, we're going to go back to this. I'm going to try to go through this quickly because, like I said, I'm stuffing my iPad full of too much stuff, and I got to go through it and get rid of a bunch of stuff. Now, the question that I'm going to take you to, let's see, 51 days till Christmas. Already did all that stuff. Right, the Chumash Indians. Who are they and what's the story behind them? Well, this is a very long and a long detailed story, but one of the things that I do need to share with you, you see, this is a California tribe. And I might have mentioned this in another video, but you guys know that I kind of grew up with the Chumash, even though I'm Potawatomi. As a young'un, being raised in California, I hung out with these guys a lot. Actually, my grandparents did, and of course, by default, they took me with them. So there were some deserty areas where they would go and pick grapes for a living. That was their job, and a lot of the guys that were with them were Chumash Indians and another tribe called Morongo, and I forgot what the Morongos call themselves, but they were dirt poor, and they lived in shacks made out of plywood and corrugated tin, and everybody, all of us kids, would sleep on the floor like little puppies and kittens do. You know, they all pile in a big pile. Anyway, that's enough yakking about that, because it's too much me, and not enough Chumash. One thing guys need to know about these guys are their numbers. Oh, let's just go through the story. This is a forgotten California tribe, and we need to know why they're forgotten. I want to go back and look at their lands for a second. Does it show their territory? Oh, darn it. I had a cool little map that showed their territory. Let's see if I go back. Go back again. Go back up. Ooh, ooh. There it is. Wikipedia. What the heck? The Wikipedia shows their territory looking like this. This is Southern California. Los Angeles is down here. And let's make the map bigger. But I would argue that their territory went way up to, but more inland. This is Southern California. If we were to draw a map of California, let's pull one up. California. Oh, I got to type it in. Duh. California map. California. I'm typing with one. Oh, that's even better. California indigenous map. I like it. Boom. Gimme. Visit. Oh, it's too slow. Let's do this one then. Pre-contact. All right, fine. I'm just open it in a new tab then if it wants to be all finicky and mess with me like that. There we go. This is what I want to show you. So here's California. There's the Chumash territory. So this used to be a very big tribe. And as you've heard me mention before, when the Spaniards came marching up from Mexico to take over Indian lands and pacify and missionize and assimilate the Indians, their lands and their numbers got all squished. But we're going to focus on the story. The story is that the Chumash were originally from this itty bitty teensy weensy island here. I think it's called Santa Cruz Island. And Hutash, the Earth Mother, she planted the Chumash as seeds on the Chumash called Santa Cruz Island Limuh Island. And this is why you will see one cool thing about the Chumash is back in the old days, they used to wear grass skirts. And they'd go to powwows, and the other Indians would make fun of them. So they stopped wearing grass skirts so much, and they changed it to these, the palm trees that grow in California. That's kind of what they use as their grass skirts. They mixed, leather with it, and sometimes they'll have red-tailed hawk feathers all around, so it doesn't look so Hawaiian. Now that's their tradition. They've upgraded. And you might have heard me talk about their sticks. Sometimes they use elder and some other wood, and sometimes they'll clack them together. And there's another kind of stick that's just got a cut in it right here. And they go clack, 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 clack. I remember the old song they used to sing. Hey, 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 yungo, hey, 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 yungo. And it would click. I'm going to mess up this pen, ain't I? Well, let's try it. It's already broken. Good. Hey, 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 yungo. Hey, 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 yungo. Hey, 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 yungo. And they would clack it against their hand, and it would make that clack, clack noise. Not as loud and irritating as mine was. Maybe like this. It sounded better. You just have to take my word for it. Remember, these are people I grew up with. Now, why am I bothering you with this? It's because this isn't related to Native literature. There's a lot of poems and stuff that they've composed and songs. Anyway, so Hutash, Earth Mother, planted these folks as seeds on Limuh Island. And their numbers began to grow. Let's see if I can pull up a map again. Give me the map. Give me the map. Give me the map. There we go. So, actually, they started off on, there it says Island Chumash. Okay, that's good. So, these guys started off on this island, and then maybe they spreaded a little bit, and their numbers were getting bigger and bigger, and they started to cry to Earth Mother and said, oh no, we're stuck on this little bitty island, and we need more land because our numbers are and these islands are getting crowded. So the Earth Mother, in her great love for the people, made something called a rainbow bridge. This is a big old rainbow that went from the island to the mainland. And she said to the children, okay, now you guys cross over this bridge and you get to the mainland and you have lots of room, plenty of room for everybody. But one thing you have to remember, when you cross over this bridge, do not look down. And of course, you know what happened. Mom tells you not to do something, and what do? Well, a bunch of kids, the people were crossing over this beautiful rainbow bridge, and some of them looked down. And wouldn't you know it, they fell into the ocean. But Hutash, the Earth Mother, felt sorry for them. Bad little kids didn't listen to me, but I'm not going to let them drown. So she turned them into dolphins. That's why it says dolphin transformation. So this is why the Chumash people, they have a great affinity, and they write lots of poems and songs about dolphins because they believe the dolphins are their brothers and sisters. Now, that's the good part. Of course, the bad part is the Spanish invasion and missionization of these Indians. Started around 25,000 people living on the land, maybe even 30,000 in this area here. All little bitty villages, and you can see all the names of the villages and everything. Well, when the Spaniards came marching with their guns and their crucifixes and saying, you guys either convert or die, a lot of them died, of course, of illnesses as well. A lot of them died out of defiance, and the soldiers would come and shoot them or blast them to bits with cannon and all that, but we don't need to talk about that. Bayonet them. The ones that were left were concentrated on an itty-bitty reservation, or itty-bitty, they call it a mission, right there in Santa Barbara, California. Let me see if I can pull up another map of California. Well, you can't really see it, but Santa Barbara's right there. Santa Barbara. And I'll show you a picture of the Santa Barbara mission. Keep in mind also, I will stick this stuff up on e-learning. Yeah, leave me alone. Santa Barbara. Santa Barbara mission. Well, first we'll look at the mission itself, images. No, we just want the Santa Barbara mission. We'll get to the excavation in a second. Back. There it is, the Santa Barbara mission. They're so beautiful, these missions. I got to talk about them. The missions of California have a very deep and long history behind them. But for non-natives, they think this is so cool. Missions, there's 21 missions to be exact. Let me scroll down and show you when the Spaniards came to the Americas from Mexico, allegedly pacifying and Christianizing Indians. They established 21 missions all the way from the Mexican border all the way up here. You can see Santa Barbara's there. Well, what they did, these missions were actually prisons for the Indians. There's no better way. I can't sugarcoat it any better than that. Beautiful place. Look at that. Beautiful mission. Oh! But to us people, to our people, they were horrible sights to see. And the crosses and crucifixes and the priests all in black, and they saw them coming, they would run if they knew any better. Now, I'll get into this too much. What we need to know, though, is that the people started off as 25,000, and their numbers went all the way down to 42 individuals. I'm not joking. 42 individuals. And nowadays, I think there's like 3,000 of them, up from 42. It's a long story. A lot of them had to intermarry with non-natives, and others married Mexicans, which is why a lot of the Chumash Indians speak Spanish and have Spanish surnames, but we don't need to get into that right now. The main thing is, I mentioned this already, network of 21 missions on what they called El Camino Real, which means the Royal Road. Now it's Highway 101. If anybody knows anything about California, Highway 101 is a beautiful highway. It goes along the coast and a little bit inland and back on the coast. Let's see if I can go back to that map. No. Well, oh, I know, it's right here, duh. So Highway 101 goes like right on the coast. It's really beautiful and goes up and up and up and up. And along that highway, a day's walk or a day's march. They'd stop these priests and soldiers. They'd stop and build a mission. So each one of these is supposed to be one day's walk away from each other. And at each one, they'd imprison natives and missionize them. Why am I bothering you with this? Oops, wrong button. There we go. It's because I want to share Wendy Rose's poem with you, Excavation at the Santa Barbara Mission. By the way, here I put on here capture, imprisonment, enslavement, and conversion. They did enslave the natives. They forced them. They did most of the grunt work building these missions. Okay? These natives built the missions, not the soldiers and the priests. They'd grab a bunch of Indians and stick them in chains and force them to build these missions out of adobe, which is a mixture of clay mud and straw. It's supposed to weather the elements really well in dry California. What else? The natives were about 700,000, but personally I would argue that there was probably more like 1 million natives living in California alone. Their numbers went all the way down. This is in general, not just the Chumash. Remember, because the Chumash were a bigger group. Let me see the California maps. We're talking all the way up from here down to there. All these different tribes. There were probably about 1 million Indians. And by the time the Spaniards and others were done with them, their numbers went down to 25,000. Okay? And for our purposes, what we need to know is that mostly in this area here, nowadays I'd say all over California, that each one of these itty-bitty tribes has something. They don't call them reservations, they call them rancherias because they're so itty-bitty, tiny chunks of land. Chumash have a reservation that started out about the size of our school campus, and they built a casino on it. First it was a bingo hall, then they built turned it into a casino, and then all these rich old ladies and old men and their tour buses would show up and start frittering away all their money, and then they made their casino nicer, and they saved their money, and they started buying up a lot of the land that was stolen from them. But that's neither here or there. I need to get you to the poem and stop all this yickety yakking. The poem is by Wendy Rose, Excavation at the Santa Barbara Mission. And let's see if I can click on it and make it open up. Where's the poem? I want to show you the poem. No, it's not going to show me the poem. Never mind, let's go back. That's too bad. Well, I'll just read it, and I knew this was going to happen, so I got a backup plan. Are you ready? I'm going to show you the Santa Barbara Mission. To kind of give us a little bit of visual effects to this poem. Excavation. Type in there we go, right there. Okay, excavation at the Santa Barbara Mission. By the way, I believe this mission was built in 1804 or 1786. Yeah, so it was built more than 200 years ago, pretty much, or 200 years ago, 17, 18, 19. Oh, more than 200. 18, 19. Ooh, that's awful. Yes, 250 years? Whatever. I'm terrible at math. I'm an English major. Excavation at the Santa Barbara Mission by Wendy Rose. And this is the poem itself because it's got a little bit of italicized information. When archaeologists excavated the Santa Barbara mission in California, they discovered human bones in the adobe walls. My pointed trowel is the artist's brush that will stroke and pry, uncover and expose the old mission wall. How excited I am! For, like a dream, I wanted to count myself among the ancient dead, as a faithful neophyte, resting there and in love with the Padres and the Spanish hymns. A feature juts out, marrow like lace, a piece of skull, upturned cup, finger bones scattered like corn, and ribs interlaced like choya. So many bones mixed with the blood from my own knuckles that dig and tug into the yellow dust. How fragile they have become, to float and fall with my touch, brittle white tips shivering into mist. How helpless I am, for the deeper I go, the more I find, crouching in white dust, listening to the whistle of long bones breaking apart like memories. My hands empty themselves of old dreams, drain the future into the moisture of my boot prints. Beneath the flags of 3 invaders, I am a hungry scientist, sustaining myself with the bones of men and women asleep in the wall, who survived in their own way. Spanish swords, Franciscans, and their rosary whips, who died among the reeds to wait communion wafers upon the ground too holy for the priests to find. They built the mission with dead Indians. 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 That's all.